Hello and welcome back to the channel. Last week I received the 12.5.4 update, and it was during a particularly rainy set of days, and I tried to run my normal route, unable to match conditions because full self-driving was degraded, and I had some fairly inconsistent results. So I gave the windshield a good clay barring, and I've got my first day that the conditions are pretty similar to what I normally drive in, and also happen to get the 12.5.4.1 update. So we're going to give it a shot here and see if it does any better, or if the regressions that I had during the inclement weather are just actual regressions. So full stop there, not bad. Coming up to the next stop sign here, and very aggressive braking, but at least it caught it. The last two attempts of that, which I'll post, it was either felt like it was going to roll it, or in one case it looked like it was actually going to run the stop sign. Okay, first stop sign. Slowing down, no visibility to the right. Got my foot on the brake just in case, and it just takes off. So, don't know about that one. It's another stop sign that we're gonna run if I don't stop. So, already not off to the best start. Right off the bat, I notice rather unusual speed conditions where it's kind of picking up speed and then slowing down, then picking up speed and then slowing down. Don't know if that has anything to do with the weather, but the auto wipers don't really seem to be wanting to function. There we go. All right, stopping pretty far back and pretty aggressively. Really going for it here, and I really don't believe that it can see, and then we're going to 100% run this stop sign if it doesn't slow down. So, are we going to roll this stop sign? Okay. So much better performance there. The first stop sign still concerns me a little because it does its NHTSA stop and very aggressively pulls forward, and neither of the other directions have a stop sign, so it's their right of way, and I'm not very comfortable with the way that it handles those stop signs. Earlier versions, I'm dating all the way back to version 11, seemed to handle that a lot better. It was more cautious. It pulled up and it creeped a little bit more to get a better view. In this case, it really stopped far back and I couldn't see anything, so I don't really know how it could have possibly seen that there was nothing coming from the right. And it just kind of went for it, so had to give it a little accelerator there because it doesn't realize it doesn't have to stop at that sign. It can complete the right turn without stopping. I think I may have one of my family members drive as cross traffic on that road and approach expecting me to pull out, and that way I can see if it will yield to a vehicle that I seemingly can't see, but maybe it can somehow. And I feel confident with that test, as my family members will be expecting me to be pulling out there, so I won't be cutting off a random stranger. Then make a left turn. We've got some traffic from the right. Pretty clear to the left. After this car, it'll be, oh, no, it won't be okay to go. Don't go, don't go, don't go. Okay. And then this other car is going to pull out. It's going to wait for him, and now my view is blocked to the right. I'm not comfortable with that at all. So it was going to go, and there was a vehicle to my right that blocked the oncoming traffic, and I couldn't see if there was anything coming in order for it to pull out. I didn't even give it a chance. It looked like it was going to go for it. So very daring. I would definitely stress the supervised in full self-driving supervised. It's a Saturday morning. I'm hoping that there's not a whole lot of traffic because the past couple times that I've run this route, there's a couple sections where it's inconsistent with what lane it decides to go in and sometimes splits the difference when it shouldn't. And I was unable to test the last time because it was following the lead car. So it went into the correct lanes based on that lead car. Speed is fine. Just being cautious about that truck pulling out, but somewhere between 4 and 8 over, which I know a lot of folks have had some speed challenges when it comes to it driving significantly slower than the speed limit, but I don't seem to have those same issues. Generally speaking, it drives 5 or so over for me almost everywhere. Deep manhole test, it's going to straddle the first one, which it normally does, and then it's going to hit the next several. Yep. So, oof. So, no manhole or pothole avoidance yet. I don't imagine that that's super high on the priority list. But it will be nice when it finally does arrive, because under normal circumstances, when I'm not filming, I would take over in this part and not run those manhole covers over. So no lead car here, which will be good to see if it picks the correct lane or if it still does the same regressions. Nope, perfect. So this is one of the problem areas, which I'll show here in just a moment. Difficult to tell whether it had anything to do with the road conditions or if it literally just was one of the regressions with the earlier version that now has been resolved. And we are going to go right through the yellow light. I suppose that's all right. We got to pick a lane here. So we're kind of straddling the yellow line there for a pretty long period of time. Driving cautiously through the construction zone, which is good. No problems here. We've got some lead cars again here, so I'm not really sure what it's going to do, but in this case it should really be picking a side, and if it were to be correct, it would be picking the right side instead of what it's doing now. But it's kind of leaning over here to cross the white line. Okay, so that's good. This is what it should have done. Don't know if it has anything to do with the traffic that is already here, but this was correct. And now it's gonna stay here and lock itself in the center so it can be in the lane to go straight, which it's doing. Perfect, no issues there. And my left tire was on the line, so I wouldn't say it really picked a lane, so to speak. And my left tire's over the line here, so it's not splitting it 50-50, but it's still a little bit too far over to the left and it should be further over to the right to be in its lane. If there was another car coming, it would be confused on what I was doing. Urgh, hard stop there. Whew, slammed on the brakes. I think I'll post this, but I'm definitely going to rerun this route when the weather is a little bit more favorable. I don't know if there's any impact from the rain or not, and it's just making it more difficult for full self-driving. Although, whenever it's going to be robo-taxi time, these are the kind of things that it has to be able to handle, and can't just shut down operations because it's raining. Sorry, can't pick you up. It's raining out. We'll have to wait till it stops. Already, this is a much better and smoother drive than the prior two. And again, I only had 12.4.5 during rainy days, so I've only been able to test it during periods where it was either degraded or there was a lot of water on the road. I wish that I could have tried out the prior update on a day like this where I could match conditions, but as fate would have it, I received the latest update on the first nice sunny day that I've had in almost a week and a half. But far be it from me to complain about an update, because I'm just thankful that I got it relatively quickly so that I could run out and test it and see how much better it is than the prior version. This is generally a problem-free Interesting that it changed lanes there, as I've got about a half mile before I have to make a right-hand turn. Those are the little things that I hope eventually get ironed out, where it looks a little bit further ahead when it needs to be in a specific lane, especially if traffic is heavy, as folks aren't always quite so nice to let you in once you get to the place where you need to turn at the last minute. So maybe it heard me talking because it switched over about a little less than a half mile from where it needs to turn. So maybe it heard me talking about it. But that's the kind of maneuvers that I like to see, because once you get, right up on your turn, if there's a line of cars behind you, it becomes somewhat stressful to get in, and you're relying on the kindness of other drivers to give you an opportunity to merge in. Got a vehicle making their left here, so I've got to yield, which it's doing a fine job with. It's made a complete stop. It didn't have to, but I'm okay with that. Okay, well, I will say that was significantly better than the prior version. I don't expect any rain here for a few days, but the second that it does, if I'm still on 12.5.4.1, I will definitely take it for another drive in the rain to see if the weather conditions had anything to do with the inconsistent performance, or if this point update addressed a lot of those issues. Going to head to a somewhat busy parking lot. It's not going to be a Costco in any capacity, but it will be my first time being able to test in good weather a parking lot that has a real world scenario that has actual people and other vehicles in it. and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I just left the grocery store, and this will be an interesting one because I'm not really sure what route it's going to decide to take because these aisles are relatively long, and there's like a ton of congestion to the vehicle's left, which is my right, and a pretty clear path, but it has to go further to my left or the vehicle's right. So let's just see if this is going to work or if we're going to have to do a walk of shame. Got clear line of sight to the vehicle. Don't see anything coming. So it looks like it is going to turn left. Waiting for that person there. Rounding the corner, nope, does a great job. So I'm pretty darn impressed with actually Smart Summon. I'm sort of torn about being too complacent with it. I try to pay really, really close attention, but it's been doing so well and so consistently that I have to keep reminding myself to stay vigilant with it because it's just that impressive. I have seen a lot of other videos of folks that are way more brave than I am doing it in a jam-packed Costco lot, and actually Smart Summon really handles that perfectly. So my semi-busy parking lots around my area don't seem to be much of a challenge for it. Still nerve-wracking to me, but ultra impressive nonetheless. So thus far I can say that 12.5.4.1 is a pretty solid improvement. Again, I'm going to have to run this in poor weather conditions to see if it still stays as solid as it's been, but I'm much happier with this version than the prior version so far. I did have a couple of pretty solid improvements that I will show from those drives in the previous version, and I'll get this posted ASAP, and then if I can get a day or two of rain, I'll make sure that I absolutely take this one out and compare its performance to the previous version's performance under the exact same conditions. Hopefully this was helpful to those of you watching, and if you haven't received the update yet, you can be pretty confident with this one. It seems to be a winner. Thanks for stopping by the channel, and we'll see you folks in the next video. Here is my fork in the road, which it's been doing a fantastic job as of the last version, and it handles it no problem again. Crossing the narrow bridge, I felt very comfortable with that, so that wasn't an issue at all. Now this is a new route, and I've avoided it in the past because Full Self-Driving did a very poor job at this road, and it's full of just very unusual stops, lefts over railroad tracks, and sharp 90-degree turns, and I just wasn't overly comfortable letting it handle it, and I don't know if I will let it do everything here, but I figured since this is a pretty big release that I would give it another shot. And I haven't recorded the ones in the past because they were more than a little rough. So we'll see if full self-driving supervised 12.5.4 makes me feel any more comfortable. So first turn here is a 90-degree turn to the left and then a 90-degree turn to the right. We don't have a stop sign. The cross traffic does. It looks like it's going to stop anyway, kinda. No, I just kind of rolled it, which is okay. And then a series of railroad tracks. And then over the tracks, nice and slow over the tracks. Wow, much better. So that is significantly better than it has done in the past, where it almost felt like it wanted to just jump the tracks. So very, very pleased with that. And it's during the rain when full self-driving is degraded. I will definitely run this again with clear conditions to see how it does also. This part here makes me super nervous because you can't see anything around this bend due to this building, and folks will drive very close to the center. So I always like to hug the right and take it very slowly. It's not very slow, but it is hugging the right, so I'm okay with that, kinda. No stop sign here, and it's just gradually kind of rolling through cautiously. Okay, that is much better than I thought it was going to be based off of the route that I normally take. So I don't have a single complaint there.